Cal back. We need Cal back. We need Cal back. Hi, everyone. Anthony Fantuando here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review of the new Denzel Curry EP. Music. 32 Zell Planet Shrooms. Mr. Denzel Curry. He is a young Florida rapper. I believe he's still affiliated with Space Ghost Perp's Raider Clan. Don't quote me on that. And I've been enjoying his stuff for the past few years, ever since I came across his album Nostalgic 64 a few years ago. Denzel's production on this record, his flows on this record, were a little rough around the edges, but he made up for it in an incredible amount of energy and raw aggression on these cuts as well. And in the track listing here, he managed to toss in a few conceptual tracks as well, which were a nice breath of fresh air. Aside of his writing I Wish I Saw More on this project, and I guess I was hoping to see more of in this new double EP project over here. But I can't say I was really anticipating a double EP release, maybe an album, maybe a mixtape. So in a way, Denzel has kind of, thrown me off, completely grabbed me by surprise. So going into this double EP, wasn't really 100% sure what to expect. Are these sister EPs? Are they related in some kind of significant or conceptual way? Does each EP take a different approach musically or lyrically? And I guess the answer to that question is both yes and no. I mean, both EPs feature plenty of lyrics that are very violent or sexual in nature. There are plenty of references on both EPs to smoking that dank bud, buddy. Very dank. Very, very dank. But simultaneously, the aggressive, hard-hitting, trap-flavored bangers of the surf contrasts pretty clearly to the very psychedelic, sort of Outkast-inspired flavor of a few tracks on the second EP here. Though the grimy production and Denzel's delivery do kind of pull these two projects together, feeling a little bit like an album. I mean, if you didn't know that these were two separate EPs, you may as well just assume that this is, a cohesive full-length record. Because at the end of the day, this is a pretty consistent project, but in a way, maybe too consistent. And too consistent in that we have two EPs here bringing a total of 14 tracks together, and I guess I was just hoping for more variety across all these songs. And for Denzel to actually kind of step forward and kind of carve out a sound of his own. Because while there are tracks on here that do, to me, in a sense, feel uniquely aggressive, tracks like Chief Forever, as well as Ultimate, where Denzel absolutely bodies this instrumental. But on a lot of other cuts on this LP, I feel like the few unique characteristics that Denzel has get sort of drowned out or kind of forgotten in a series of triplet flows or like Outkast, Andre 3000 inspired flows, Bone Thugs and Harmony flows, and some songs that instrumentally have kind of an eerie 3-6 Mafia vibe to them. There are most definitely some lyrics in the track list here that hit hard for their aggression. I mean, Denzel pulls no punches with people like Rich Homie Quan, for example. There are some very darkly and I guess, angrily, sexually explicit lyrics on this LP that do make me, just kind of wince a little bit for a second, but it does kind of fit in with the very sinister nature of these two EPs on the whole. Still, this is not enough for me, anyway, to completely set him apart from anybody else and sort of put him in his own lane in the current rap landscape. And then on top of that, the consistency that I sort of talked about earlier. I guess it isn't completely non-existent, but the songs where Denzel tries to vary from his more aggressive and standout tracks, he gives us these kind of middling, forgettable cloud rap songs that often have some of the worst hooks on these two EPs, like Smoke 2049 or Delusional or Captain C Funk. Tracks like this are where Denzel sort of loses the bite, the aggressive bite, that made him so interesting in the first place. Though I do have to give it to him on the closer, though, for actually coming through with, I guess, a bit of a story and a concept in the lyrics, while also delivering an instrumental that is pretty spacey and pretty cloudy as well. And if there's another thing that I kind of miss about this new double EP over Denzel's last full-length project, is that there really doesn't seem to be more, if even just as much, conceptual tracks here as there were on Denzel's last project, or when he does kind of focus in on one topic, like on Smoke 2049, he absolutely, is kind of indulging or kind of exploring something that's completely boring in a sense, or just isn't really bringing that new or refreshing of a perspective to it. I mean, how many weed songs are there at this point? How many? A lot. Still, though, despite my handful of critiques, there were a good series of hard-hitting bangers on these two EPs, and some generally good and enjoyable cuts. I will say, though, I did enjoy the first EP much more than the second. Just less cuts on the second that I thought were good, and just a more generally laid-back feel that didn't hold my attention quite as much. Averaging these two EPs together, I'm feeling a strong 6 to a light 7 on this thing.
Transition. Have you given this album a listen? These two EPs, rather. If you have, what did you think of them? Did you love them? Did you hate them? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. We're saving Cal next. We're saving Cal. We're saving him. Ha!